My name is Jack. So I'm the head of business development for Safeheron. Basically, what we do is that we are institutional grade multi-party computation, or MPC in short, for self-custody solution for digital assets aimed really mainly at institutions. Right. So what we do is that we want to help our clients, especially the institutions, to better protect, better secure their assets, as well as to strengthen governance in terms of asset management. All right, so quick background about Safeheron. So we established back in 2019, headquartered out of Singapore, right? And in true crypto fashion, we have staff that are located in distributed locations, not just in Singapore, but we also have staff in China across 3 offices, as well as in our newly set up office in Hong Kong. So some quick stats for you guys, right? Since our setup in 2019, we have had about $1.5 billion that we have under self-custody, and we have securely transferred more than $30 billion worth of assets, right? And we never ever had a single case of an account compromise or asset loss. So that's something that we are proud of, and it's a milestone that we want to continue growing, and make sure that we do our part to help keep the Web3 ecosystem safe. So as part of our journey in helping to help our clients to have a better way of securing the assets, we also work with some of the brightest minds within the security space, such as our colleagues in Slomis, right? And we work with people, very, very smart people in the MPC Alliance and the Blockchain Security Alliance in Singapore, just to name a few. So security, it's the main mission that we have over at Safeheron, right? So we had the privilege of serving clients from across a very wide, diverse range of segments within the Web3 space. So namely asset managers, their clients, they also span from exchanges to funds to OTC desks to on-ramp, off-ramp, service providers to NFT platforms, even to Web3 infrastructures, for our customers across various locations across the globe. All right, so security challenge is really one of the big issue within the Web3 space, right? Because it's like literally we hear hacks, right? Assets losses, such incidents happening literally almost on a daily basis or a weekly basis, right? And then if we look back at history, actually if we don't even have to look very far back, just last year, right? 2022, it's it's unprecedented in terms of the number of the assets losses in terms of absolute value that we have faced. In 2022, we had almost $4 billion worth of assets that were lost due to hacks, scams, rug pulls, and more than $1 billion worth of assets alone were lost due to compromise of private key alone, right? So private key compromise is by far one of the largest single attack vector. So it's a big issue that that's present within the industry, and it's also a problem that we want to solve, right? And single private key compromise, the big issue behind it is that it suffers from a single point of failure, because the traditional way it's usually managed is single private key stored within a single device, managed by a single user, right? But the big problem is that if the user or the device which the private key is stored, right, is compromised, then basically the user might lose access to their assets. And in security, we was this saying where we look in, which is users. We are only as strong as our weakest link, right? And usually users, are often the weakest link within the entire chain, right? Because if one is not careful, it's very easy for a user to be a victim of a phishing scam, or social engineering scam. And it's also not uncommon to hear of incidents of asset loss that arises because of internal fraud and human error. So how do we resolve this? That's where MPC comes in, right? So MPC, or multi-party computation, basically it's a subfield within cryptography where it allows multiple parties to come together to use the individual input and to privately and to securely compute an output. So from a security perspective, it allows for a single private key, in a very layman terms, to split up into multiple key shards held by multiple parties across different locations. Such that the setup that we do for MPC service. This to ensure that there's a decentralized management in terms of managing the private key, right? And that no single private key it's held on a single device, opening it up to a single point of a failure. And the other thing about MPC is that it allows for multiple parties to come together to do a signing without the private key ever being exposed on any physical devices throughout its life cycle of the private key, whether is it from the private key generation to the signing to storage to verification. The private key, it's never visible, right? So if it's never visible, then it makes it a lot difficult for it to be compromised, from any attackers. And the other aspect to take note is that when we use MPC, right, the individual private key shards held by the individual parties, it's always known, and kept private only to the individual party itself, and it's not known to other third parties. So the security coverage doesn't end with just decentralized key management. So basically, what we do is that we have multi-layer security architecture in place to make sure that, even if one layer is compromised, we still have multiple other layers to ensure that, the assets are well safeguarded, right? So we talk about centralized key shard management. We also use policy engines and approval workflows to help our clients to design specialized approval policies to make sure that there's adequate check and balance and that there's multi-party governance in terms of asset management, and that no single party can unilaterally transfer assets away, whether is it through human error or whether is it through internal theft. There's always a check and balance mechanism in place. And the last part is that, we used what we call trusted execution environment, utilizing a hardware isolation layer. Basically, we use Intel HashKey chip to create encrypted secured enclave to secure all our sensitive cryptographic materials like our whitelisted addresses, our key shard data, as well as our policies. Okay, so quickly to sum up, what we do at Safeheron, right? So we use MPC and TE, which I just mentioned, to strengthen the security over the assets. We place a lot of emphasis on our zero trust architecture, all right? And also we verify transactions, we verify actions at every point, whether is it when we add new members or we create new teams or we add new API keys or we add new policies. We make sure that's a zero trust architecture in place. We also use what you see is what you sign and multi-factor authentications. All this goes towards strengthening the security of our assets and making sure that we mitigate not just against external attacks, but also internal attacks as well. All right, and then our solutions are audited to the highest security standards. We comply to ISO 27001, SOC 2 Type 2. We also put in place other third-party security measures, where we integrate with security features such as AML compliance, if to detect for any suspicious income flow, whether it's inbound or outbound to known addresses that are linked to criminal activities. We also scan for possible interactions with malicious smart contract. And the last point I'd like to make before I just show a very quick video is that we support not just a SaaS model, for clients that wants to use a ready-to-go product to secure their assets in a very competitive manner. We also have SDK solutions for clients that want to have full control over their key shards and wallet infrastructure. So that's something that, our solutions is flexible enough to cater to. Okay, so quick run through to our app. So this is a video, I would just show you certain parts of the video to give you a flavor, about the interface of our app, as well as the browser extension that we use to interact with DeFi protocols. All right, so this, is, what you see, when you use our app to create a team. All right, we can use, app to invite team members to co-manage assets together. All right, we can assign different permissions for different members and make sure that there is segregation of duties, right, and there's separation of duties. Right, we can use the app to back up the key shards. You can appoint different team members to back up the recovery phrase associated with the 3 key shards. We use a 3 out of 3 threshold signing scheme and make sure that the key shards data are kept at different devices. There's no single point of failure. You could use the app to tailor approval processes, how to initiate a transaction through the app. All right, this gives you a feel about, we can have multiple levels of approving process, all right, for different type of transactions. Okay, and lastly, we also have a browser extension that you could easily use to interact with DeFi protocols to do staking, lending, and you can have it integrated with our mobile app to do the signing process, right? So it works very seamlessly, and many of our clients have, they enjoy using a browser extension because you don't have to use, external applications at Wallet Connect. You can just use our browser extension to do so and interact with DeFi in a very secure and safe manner.